Hi everybody, welcome back to my channel. My name's LIANA if you're new, and today's video is going to be on how to start a podcast. If you don't already know, I do have a podcast. It's called Legitimately LIANA, and I think I'm currently on episode 17. At least I am during the filming of this video, and I would say it's going pretty well so far, and I am having fun doing it. I mainly started it as a fun quarantine hobby and a way to keep in touch with my friends, who I invite on the podcast as guests. Also, it was a way for me to take some pressure off myself, since with my YouTube channel, I feel like I was kind of really presenting like a PG version of myself so that nobody would get offended, and I would also try to avoid talking about things of substance, and I also felt like I had to look really nice in every single video, and I also felt so pressured to have to post a certain amount of times and at a consistent frequency for like the growth of my channel, and I'm sure that you can probably guess that can get a little bit tiring. So I started the podcast as a way to take all that pressure off of me and just kind of do something else on the side, because, you know, I wouldn't have deadlines for myself and I wouldn't really have restrictions on what I would talk about. And I have been really enjoying it so far. It's like a nice change of pace from all the YouTube stuff. I still really enjoy doing YouTube though. It's just that I like having something that is totally opposite to work on at the same time, just for that balance. But anyway, this video is for you if you're thinking about starting a podcast. It really is very fun. I feel like in quarantine, everybody and their mother started a podcast, and I was definitely one of those people. So if you want to start one but have no idea where to start, then keep on watching. Okay, so the first topic of this video is equipment. You definitely don't need the fanciest equipment. You can even record on your phone, honestly, and it would work. If you want to take it up a notch, then you can buy a lapel mic that plugs into your phone, and the audio might be a little better and would allow you to be a little further away from your phone. I just so happen to have a couple condenser mics from Maono from my previous collaborations with them, and they've been pretty monumental. A decent condenser mic on Amazon isn't too expensive, so if you have $30, I think you're good. So for software, I use Audacity to record my episodes, and that brings me to editing, which is something that I do a lot, but not everybody knows because it's not like a video where you can see all the jump cuts, so you're just kind of relying on what you hear. I personally don't feel the pressure to record it all in one take, especially if your episodes are really long. It's a lot of pressure to try to record a perfect episode without any editing. When I have guests on, I usually tell them that it's okay for them to take long pauses or tell me to edit something out so that there isn't so much pressure to be perfect, and sometimes I'll re-record my parts if I stuttered or took too long to say something and just splice it in, and nobody knows, except now they probably do because I just said it. So now we're on the topic of prep. So if you're watching this video, you probably already have a good idea of what you want your podcast to be about, which is a good start. Make sure that you have a good list of episode ideas so that you don't run out. Before I do each episode, I write down a script of what I want to say. It's not always verbatim, but a lot of the times it is. When I'm speaking, I don't want to focus on coming up with what I want to say at the same time that I'm trying to enunciate my words. So sometimes when I'm telling a very long anecdote, chances are I've already written it down verbatim and I'm just reading it out loud. When I have guests, obviously I can't predict everything that they're going to say. I only have a list of the topics that we had previously agreed to talk about on an episode, and all I can really do is write out a few bullet points, things that I want to say about those main topics, and also guess where the conversation is going to go. This might come off as overkill just a little bit, like why can't I just have a normal conversation and be chill, but I am very much an introvert, and sometimes it's very hard for me to converse with people, especially if I don't know them that well. So I definitely find a lot of solace in going into each episode very prepared, whether I'm doing it by myself or with a guest, and adequate prep has really helped minimize my editing process and also minimize the time that it takes to record an episode, because I want to respect my guest's time and not take forever to say one thing. So after you've recorded an episode, you want to get it out there. This part was probably the most confusing part for me, because I thought that it would be like YouTube where you pick a website and you upload to it and people listen, but it really isn't like that. It is like that on SoundCloud though, which is where I first started uploading my podcast to. But after you upload 3 hours of audio, they charge you, and I was like, nah, I'm good. I don't want to pay $144 a year just to, you know, have a podcast that like only 20 people listen to. You could post it to YouTube, but the one drawback is that if people are on their phone, they can't listen to it unless they have the app open. And you know how YouTube on mobile doesn't really let you go to other apps, so that is a big drawback. But with SoundCloud and Spotify, you can go to other pages. But yeah, come to find out, you can put your podcast on Spotify, which is where my podcast is, along with Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and more. There's something called an RSS feed, which honestly I still don't really understand. But because of it, my podcast is able to be distributed on multiple platforms, which is super cool. I use this website called anchor.fm. It's completely free, and I just use it to upload my episodes. And after I click upload, it usually shows up on Apple Podcasts and Spotify Podcasts and the other platforms platforms within 10 minutes. It's really that easy. And also with Spotify as well, people can download your episodes and listen to it without Wi-Fi, so that's another big plus. Now my next point is channel art. There's not really that much to say for this besides make it visually appealing so that people will want to click on it, but I real quick just wanted to plug my art student sister's Instagram because she is responsible for my cover art and I'm obsessed. So if you want to commission her, then you can DM her on Instagram, BeanIrene18. So guests. I love having guests on my podcast. I definitely wouldn't want my podcast to be just me because I feel like that's just a lot of talking and would be also painfully boring. Each and every time I have a guest, I discuss a few topics with them that we could talk about just so that they're not going in blind. And you can also prepare for things you might want to say or any anecdotes you'd want to share. I've had all my guests through Zoom. Even though it'd be nice to record in person, COVID is still a thing, and not all the people that I want on my podcasts are in the same location as me at all times. Zoom has been working pretty well for me so far, and I really like it because there's this thing in the settings where it allows you to record audio separately. Now Zoom, along with other video conferencing software, tends to downgrade your audio a little bit so that if I just recorded a meeting with both our voices, my audio wouldn't be super clear even if I'm using a condenser mic. So I like to record on Audacity for my audio, and I just use my guest's audio from the Zoom call because that is the best and most convenient option most of the time. Because I am recording my part on Audacity, the only audio that I need to download from the Zoom meeting is that of my guest. So when I'm done with the meeting, I can just extract their audio and then line it up with my audio from Audacity. I ask my guests to put on earbuds so that their audio doesn't have my voice in it in case there's any echoing, and I'll also put on earbuds so that my audio doesn't have their voice in it in case there's any echoing. And I also ask them to turn off the video, which I do as well, so that the download process at the end of the call is as short as possible because then your computer isn't trying to download a video as well as audio. So that's pretty much all there is to it, and if you have any questions, feel free to leave them down in the comment section below or DM me on Instagram and I'd be happy to help. So that is it for today. Thank you so much for watching and I hope you enjoyed it. Happy podcasting. I'll see you in the next one. Bye. Hi everyone, welcome to episode 11 of Legitimately Liana. Today's guest is someone that I've known for basically my whole life and also kind of sounds like me, so this might get really confusing. Anyway, you want to introduce yourself?
Hello, I am Irene, and this is not my normal voice. This is not my normal voice because I am being recorded and I have performance anxiety.
Yeah, so Irene is not capable of talking in her regular voice. It's either really high or she adopts a southern accent. So this is going to be very difficult.
I'll try my best.
Okay. This is literally our 7th time trying to introduce her.
Yes.
So we're just going to move on.
Okay, let's move on. I'm tired of this.
Okay. So anyway, yeah, you go to art school. What led you to this point, and when did you know that you were going to go to art school?
So it all started when I had my wretched anime drawing phase. And that kind of just, what's the word? Oh, led to, but like fancy.
Propelled.
Oh, okay, good. And that propelled me into a decade long of becoming a self-taught artist and